We got a good one in Oxford. LSU going to Ole Miss. I can't wait for this one. I know you can't wait for this one. We already gave you our preview, already gave you our prediction. If you're dialed into college football all year long, make sure you're subscribed right here, because on the eve of a Week 5 Saturday slate, we're going to have our final take for you on both the LSU side and the Ole Miss side ahead of this action. Again, so make sure you're subscribed if you're a college football sicko. My last take, though, for LSU, I told y'all, man, I think LSU is going to run the football, especially in the first half. I think Brian Kelly is going to make sure that the media members in Baton Rouge aren't asking him questions about running the football the first thing after this game ends. But I say that, and then I also think, and LSU's also got some burners on the outside. LSU's also got a quarterback that likes to whip it around the yard, and they won Garrett Nussmeier. So I think what we'll see here game flow-wise is run the football in the first half as those safeties roll down, as those linebackers trigger, as you get the defense flowing downhill. Barrion Brown is super freaking fast for LSU. I think this is going to be the Barrion Brown box score game. I think he goes for over 100. I think he has a big, big day for LSU, and I think he is almost reaffirming of the LSU offense being explosive and being a team that's dynamic and is going to be able to go compete for a national championship. So, obviously, y'all that have watched the preview already know we got LSU winning the game. Barrion Brown and his big day is a big part of that for me when it comes to what LSU is going to be here in the spot in Oxford. Now for Ole Miss, I think the design quarterback run game has to exist here. All right, Trinidad Chambliss getting his second start in SEC play here in relief of Austin Simmons. What I'd like to see from Ole Miss, though, in this spot, LSU is notorious under Blake Baker for bringing some pressure. If you run into the pressure with an extra blocker, which you get in design quarterback run game, there's a chance for that to crease. And Trinidad Chambliss, over 100 yards rushing the week before against Tulane, had 2 rushing touchdowns against Arkansas. Also get a chance to settle your quarterback in, get him hit a little bit. I really would love that game plan for Charlie Weiss Jr., Lane Kiffin, and your transfer quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, to kind of get in the flow of the game and maybe have a chance to hit a couple big ones against this LSU defense. So if they're going to win the game, Ole Miss that is, I think that has to be a factor in some way, shape, or form. Expect that to be in the bag. Now, a win for LSU, I think, going back to what I said already, I think that restabilizes the optics around LSU. Because nationally right now, the conversation since the Clemson game has been, well, how good is Clemson really? Well, the offense, I don't know if you can go make a playoff run with what they've done production-wise. Well, you got to run the football. Well, the offensive line. We have a lot of and then fill in the blank for LSU. I think the well gets erased after a game like this if you beat Ole Miss at their place with the line moving, again, towards LSU right now, but still favoring Ole Miss. I think this is kind of resets the perception, and we all say, okay, LSU is still a team with the most experienced quarterback in the SEC relative to his numbers a year ago, over 4,000 yards. They still have one of the most experienced head coaches in Brian Kelly. They still have a defense now that we felt good about week 1. We still feel good about them now. I think this restabilizes how we talk about LSU going forward after week 5 of the college football season. Now, if Ole Miss does win, one, we'll feel a little bit silly here on the show. We'll eat some crow. But that would, I think, to me, send the message very clearly to the entire Ole Miss organization. Hey, Austin Simmons is great. Trinidad Chambliss is your guy, though. Because I think LSU's defense is one of the best in America. If that dude walks into that spot and beats that defense, plays well enough to beat that defense, I should say, I don't think you have any more discussion around, well, when Austin Simmons gets back, is it his, Austin Simmons, still a really good player, but Trinidad Chambliss very obviously gives you something different offensively. So if he beats LSU, man, it's his job. It's his job. Make no mistake about it. Also, the same thing we said about the optics for LSU, I think it's fair to have that discussion about Ole Miss because they lose Jackson Dart, lose a first-rounder and Walter Nolan up front. Last year had a very much so all-in year to it around Ole Miss. But if you beat LSU, I'm not saying it's once again, the year for Ole Miss, but I do think it has a little bit of a feel to it of, hey, maybe we should take a closer look at what this Ole Miss football team is. Because, again, assuming you win this game, Trinidad Chambliss should be more accounted for than he was before the season. I think that dude in himself is kind of a wild card for Ole Miss and makes them a wild card in general in the SEC. So, again, I don't know if you start the Atlanta conversation, but I do think the playoff conversation becomes a lot more real, and we need to just overall take Ole Miss a little bit more seriously in the story that is this 2025 season. So, excited for this one. Again, I know you're dialed in for this one. If you're an LSU fan, an Ole Miss fan, if you're a college football sicko, we'll have a reaction for you for this game the Sunday after. So if you want that content as well as all the content going forward here on this channel, make sure you're subscribed. Cato on the ones and twos, myself, JD PicKell. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.